During the Thanksgiving dinner, my sister rose to her feet and declared, "We voted, and you are no longer considered family." Cheers erupted from the crowd. I chuckled gently and replied, "Then I suppose you won't be needing this." A folder was set upon the table. As she lifted the lid, a scream erupted from her lips. "Before we carve the turkey," Elise announced, rising from her chair with that self-satisfied, practiced smile of hers, "there's something we need to say." Silence enveloped the room. Forks hung suspended in the air. My stomach tightened. I recognized that tone all too well. It was the very same expression she wore when she got me grounded at 14 for a party I hadn't even attended. "We conducted a family vote," she continued, surveying the crowd with the poised grace of a pageant queen on the brink of receiving her crown. "We have come to a decision. You are no longer considered family." Stillness. Then came a resounding cheer. Applauding. My cousin Megan applauded with the enthusiasm of a concert-goer. Uncle Rick lifted his wine glass high and offered a toast. Even my mother, my very own mother, chuckled and remarked, "Well, someone had to say it." I remained motionless, my gaze fixed on the plate before me. The stuffing lay cold, yet my blood simmered with intensity. My father barely cast a glance in my direction. He took a slow sip of his beer and murmured, "It's probably for the best." "Wow," I remarked, gently sliding my chair back. "Did you all really practice this?" Elise's smile broadened. "Your toxicity has lingered for years. We have finally ceased the charade." "You're not family," my mother remarked, extending her hand toward the cranberry sauce as if we were merely chatting about the weather. "There is a consensus." I surveyed my surroundings. Silence enveloped the room. No individual. "Very well," I murmured softly. With a deliberate motion, I delved into my bag. "I anticipated this moment," I remarked, as I retrieved a substantial folder and set it down delicately in the middle of the table. The noise it produced, thunk, sliced through the merriment. Elise fluttered her eyelids. What could that possibly be? With a smile playing on my lips, I reclined in my chair, arms crossed comfortably over my chest. "Why not discover for yourself?" With a swift motion, she seized it and tore it apart, her lips curling into that familiar, sardonic smirk that signaled her belief in victory. As she flipped to the first page, her smile faded away. Her complexion drained of color. Her gaze swept across the following page, and then the next. In that moment, her voice erupted into a piercing scream. I screamed. A scream that echoes with the chilling intensity of a horror film, sending shivers down the spine. With a sudden jolt, her chair toppled backward as she sprang to her feet, the folder snapping shut with a force that suggested it had seared her fingertips. "You monster," she cried. "You've really gone and made a mess of things, haven't you, you peculiar individual?" Gasping sounds reverberated through the air surrounding the table. Mark, her husband, seized the folder and flipped it open. In that moment, his jaw fell open in disbelief. He cast his gaze in my direction. Could this be? I gave a single nod. "It is indeed all real," I declared. Each and every word. Each and every receipt, each captured moment. The table fell into a profound silence. The sound of a fork clinking echoed softly from the kitchen. My mother's lips parted, only to seal once more. As a fish struggles for breath. "You were so convinced I wouldn't retaliate," I remarked, rising to my feet with deliberate slowness. "Indeed, I would embrace the role of the silent observer. The welcome mat. The golden goose. However, can you believe it?" I leaned in, locking my gaze with Elise's, piercing through the surface to the depths of her soul. "Your quaint performance? The end has come. Are you curious about the contents of the folder? I will arrive at my destination. Before we delve into the details, allow me to recount the journey that brought us to this point. Elise didn't simply wake up one day and choose to cast me out from the fold of family. The decision was forged through the passage of many years, stone by stone. Observation by observation. Deception upon deception. I was never the one they favored. Far from it. Elise shone brightly, the epitome of brilliance, impressive academic achievements, a radiant smile, and an innate ability to charm any gathering. She had a remarkable ability to deceive with such charm that her victims would leave feeling grateful for the experience. I, in contrast, remained silent, confidential. I had no desire for attention. And that was met with disdain. My silence was mistaken for weakness. At the age of 19, I embarked on a new chapter of my life by moving out. I financed my own college education, juggling 2 jobs along the way, never once seeking assistance. In the interim, Elise stumbled through 2 majors, embarked on a journey to Europe in search of her true self, and eventually returned to marry Mark, a man who epitomized the polished professionalism of a LinkedIn profile clad in a blazer. What about the wedding? I covered half of the cost. Though my parents faced financial constraints, they somehow orchestrated a 2-week cruise immediately afterward. I chose not to voice any grievances. I did not engage in that action. Despite the playful jabs about being the family accountant, I continued to assist with Dad's dental surgery expenses, sent funds when Mom mentioned the overdue heat bill, and even contributed to my cousin Megan's tuition when she found herself waitlisted for a scholarship. They always expressed their gratitude, certainly, yet there was an unmistakable tone beneath it all. The one who remarked, "Naturally, you would lend a hand. You lack a family to call your own." Perhaps that was the turning point. Do you see? I find myself navigating life as a solitary soul. Without children, without a partner, without any theatrics. It's simply me, my craft, and my loyal companion. In their gaze, it seemed to imply that I had no other pursuits than to finance their chaos. Elise, in particular, regarded me as her own personal failsafe. Upon Mark's job loss, she reached out to me without hesitation. A mere loan, nothing more. When her car broke down, "You earn a substantial income, what's $2,000 in the grand scheme of things?" When her child required therapy and the insurance refused to provide coverage. Indeed, can you guess who she reached out to? I have consistently offered my assistance. Forever. For the reason that I convinced myself it was about family, yet, what began as assistance morphed into a sense of duty. And then into anticipation. And then into demand. It began as a mere whisper. Subtle jests woven into the fabric of the dinner conversation. "Ah, did you bring wine? It must be quite a pleasure to indulge in fine wine. Naturally, you've arrived ahead of schedule. There are no children to concern yourself with. I long for the freedom to toil into the night, escaping the confines of home and the presence of my husband." Then it took a turn for the worse. "Your demeanor is quite frigid. Perhaps that explains your solitude. You have yet to grasp the true essence of stress. Your existence lacks authenticity. Your bitterness stems from the realization that you are no longer needed by anyone. Yet, they truly required my presence. Incessantly, in terms of finances. Silently. Within the confines of secrecy, and then arrived the message. Elise. Would you be willing to co-sign for a small business loan? Mark and I aspire to launch a wellness cafe. I negative. Elise. Incredible. Is that so? Then arrived the stillness. That was a quarter of a year past. Since that moment, I have been met with indifference. Mother ceased her calls. Father responded with terse, single-word answers. I wasn't invited to the most recent family dinner. Elise severed our digital connection after sharing a story about eliminating toxic influences from her life. Yet, I did not linger in despair. Instead, I began to gather the receipts. Actual proof. I maintain meticulous records, monetary transactions via banking institutions, correspondence via electronic mail, captured moments, chronicles of time. I am not foolish. In just the last 5 years, I have transferred more than $78,000 to different family members. $78,000. $8,000 for Mark's rehabilitation. $2,300 for Elise's urgent dental procedure, which ultimately revealed itself to be elective veneers. $1,500 for my father's back surgery. $12,000 to settle my mother's credit card debt. $6,000 allocated for Megan's college move-in expenses. $4,500 spent on what was initially labeled a family emergency, only to reveal itself as a getaway to Cabo. And not a single time, did any of them extend the courtesy of repaying me. They simply ceased, and when I ceased to offer, they concluded that I was the source of the issue. I have created the folder. Within each transfer confirmation, each email and text message soliciting funds, images capturing Elise labeling me as manipulative to her friend after I declined the loan request, a comprehensive record of each significant payment I have made over the past 5 years. And as an added touch, there are copies of Facebook and Instagram posts where they ridiculed me. I possess screenshots of Elise referring to me as a cash cow devoid of backbone, captured in a private comment thread she was unaware I could access. Indeed, that was the sight that greeted her as she opened the folder. That was the catalyst for her scream. Elise was not merely exposed, she was deconstructed, detail by detail, sentence by sentence, chapter by chapter. Meanwhile, the rest of the family came to understand the gravity of their actions. My mother appeared on the brink of collapse. "Is that you, Mark?" He gazed at the line that read $4,200 for Elise's credit card, charged at a hotel in Santa Monica with someone named Alyssa, and simply uttered, "What is this?" I chose not to respond. I was not obliged to. For the very first time, I found myself not in the position of defense. I was merely revealing the truth to them. "You maintained meticulous records." At last, my mother spoke, her voice trembling. "Of all things?" I faced her, composed and unruffled. "You never recalled." Thus, it fell upon someone to take action. Elise remained upright, her complexion ashen, her hands balled into tight fists at her sides. Her gaze flickered between Mark, myself, and the folder. "This is a violation," she spat. "Your actions were unjustified." "No, that's not correct," I declared, rising to my feet with deliberate slowness. "You stood there before the entire family and proclaimed that I am not one of them." Everyone applauded. "And now you find yourself troubled by my readiness." Mark turned yet another page in the folder. "What is the story behind Santa Monica?" he inquired, his tone strained. Elise's gaze darted sharply in his direction. "Refrain from beginning. Who is Alyssa?" he pressed on. "What was the reason for your 3-night stay at a hotel charged to my credit card?" Her silence resonated more profoundly than any response could. "Hold on," my mother interjected, raising her hands in a gesture of pause. "Could we all take a moment to breathe and approach this with a sense of reason?" "Absolutely," I declared. "Let us approach this with a sense of reason. Let us revisit the moment you referred to me as a parasite while you were cashing the check I had sent your way." She fluttered her eyelashes. "That seems unjust." We found ourselves in a state of tension. "Absolutely not." I lost my composure. "You found yourself in a state of stress. And I rescued you from that predicament, each alone. Moments. And the one occasion I decline? In an instant, I find myself cast as the adversary. My father, who had remained utterly quiet until this moment, finally broke his silence. "You're amplifying this beyond its true significance." I faced him, my voice lowering to a whisper. "You allowed this to happen to me for years. You were aware, you witnessed it. You've heard it. You allowed it to unfold, choosing the path of least resistance over confronting them." He did not refute it. Elise struck the table with her hand, the sound echoing in the room. "Your bitterness stems from the realization that your presence is no longer required." Incorrect. I spoke with an icy detachment. "I hold no resentment. I have reached my limit." She released a laugh tinged with bitterness. "Your behavior is truly disappointing. Are you aware of the sheer drama that unfolds in this scene? Are you bringing a folder? Capturing and printing screenshots? Do you believe this positions you as the victim? Your actions are merely showcasing your need for control. And you're merely demonstrating," I remarked, "that your concern for me was solely tied to the times I was settling your expenses." "You don't get to play the martyr," she shouted. "You made the decision to assist. You were not obligated to do so." And yet, in that moment, I found myself saying, as I took a step closer, "You anticipated it, without fail. Until it ceased to be assistance. It was an obligation, And when I ceased, you cast me aside. My voice trembled, not from sorrow but from fury. A brother was not what you desired. You desired a wallet that could walk on its own. Mark rose to his feet, clutching the folder tightly. Could this possibly be true? He inquired, his gaze fixed on Elise. Everything encompassed within this. Elise gazed at him, and for the first time, words eluded her. There shall be no insincere tears. There is no deviation. Only quietude. You deceived me, he stated, a glimpse into the hotel. Concerning the finances. Concerning him, your words painted him as if he were unhinged. I found it necessary. She erupted. He was sowing discord among everyone, turning them against me. I was not, I replied. You accomplished that entirely on your own. Silence enveloped the room once more. Then my mother leaned in, making one final attempt. Her voice took on a gentle quality. Hear me out, darling. Perhaps we have reacted more strongly than necessary. Yet, this remains a bond of family. Families engage in conflict. Let us move forward and leave this in the past. I severed our connection. It seems my words are falling on deaf ears. She fluttered her eyelids. What is this? I seek not tranquility. I seek no absolution. I assure you. I have reached my limit. Elise curled her lip in disdain. Oh, cease the pretense as if this is a monumental occasion. That sentiment has crossed your lips previously. I gazed deeply into her eyes. This is not the way. With a deliberate motion, I delved into my coat pocket and retrieved yet another envelope. What comes next? My father inquired, his weariness evident. I flung it onto the table. Mark intercepted it just in time, preventing it from slipping away. He unsealed it. Perused the opening sentence. His eyes grew wide. What could this be? He murmured softly. I spoke on his behalf. Documents for granting authority to act on one's behalf, dedicated to my mother. Withdrawn. Healthcare representative, withdrawn. Who should I reach out to in case of an emergency? Deleted. The papers have been signed by me already. I have severed all legal and emotional ties to each of you. My mother inhaled sharply. Are you severing all connections entirely? Absolutely, I declared, commencing at this moment. You're being selfish, she said, tears beginning to well in her eyes. Though we have erred, our bond as family remains unbroken. I faced her, my voice lowering once more, steady and resolute. Negative. You are not. I snatched my coat, cast a final glance their way, and stepped through the door, departing from the Thanksgiving dinner tableau, where they remained, bewildered and silent, encircled by uneaten dishes and harsh realities. I stepped outside, resolute, and chose not to glance behind me. Not that it lacked pain. Indeed, it did. As I shut the door behind me and descended from their porch into the frigid night, a subtle transformation stirred within me. After a long hiatus, I found the air filling my lungs. I took a different route instead of heading straight home. I veered off the road beside the lake that held my childhood memories, the very spot where my father would take me to fish. I lingered in quiet contemplation, gazing at the tranquil surface of the water, and experienced a sensation that had eluded me for far too long. No strings tugging at my heart. Free from remorse. Take your time. There is no one anticipating a payment, a lift, or a kindness. Only silence lingers. What about the following morning? Stillness. What about the following day? Yet again, there is nothing. Yet, on the third day, the messages began to arrive. To begin with, my mother. A call that went unanswered. Then yet another. Next came a voicemail. Did you truly mean it? Though our hearts were heavy with anger, the bond of family remains unbroken. I chose to remain silent. Then arrived the messages. With warm regards, Elise. You remain blissfully unaware of your actions. Mark is initiating the process of divorce. Do you find joy in your life? There seems to be something quite amiss with you. Next, my father, your actions have crossed a line. We have all uttered words we wish we could take back. What you did was nothing short of explosive. Your mother is in disarray. Please attend to this matter. I chose not to respond to any of them. To be completely candid, I anticipated a sense of guilt would wash over me. I imagined I would lie awake, restless and questioning whether I had crossed a line. Yet, in contrast, I experienced a level of sleep that I hadn't known in years. Gone were the days of doubting each message. No longer shall we linger in anticipation of the inevitable fall. Gone are the days of late-night Venmo requests, those guilt-laden pleas masquerading as urgent crises. After 10 long years, I finally found the space to hear my own thoughts. I've begun to rise with the dawn. Embarking on runs, crafting coffee with patience. I finally scheduled the appointments I had been postponing for years. Dental practitioner, physician, even a counselor. Not due to my brokenness, but because I was finally granted the opportunity to nurture myself. I revised my emergency contacts. I have distanced myself from my parents. I have updated my passwords. They immobilized every joint account to which they had access. I severed all connections with Elise across every platform. The quest for vengeance had faded into the background. The essence of it was closure. A week following Thanksgiving, I received a message from Megan, my cousin who had applauded when they cast their votes against me. I had no idea you covered my tuition. I apologize. I moved with the throng. You were consistently the one who truly offered assistance. I chose not to respond. Yet, I delved into its pages. Twice. Then, quite unexpectedly, a message arrived from Mark. The papers have been filed. All items within that folder have been verified. She betrayed trust. Deception. Contorted. It's not only you. I share that sentiment as well. He remarked. Your actions were commendable. I ought to have departed earlier. That took me by surprise. Yet it touched down. Several days passed, and I found myself taking a step I hadn't dared to in years. I submitted an application for a position in a different city. Not due to my haste. Yet, it was precisely because I had finally attained my freedom. It's best if you remain nearby. Who will look after them if you decide to go? I began to rekindle connections with friends I hadn't encountered in ages. Individuals I had distanced myself from due to my constant preoccupation with family matters. And the most astonishing aspect? A few of them had come across my post on Reddit. They extended their hand. We want you to know that we take great pride in your accomplishments. That was truly courageous. No one requested any funds. No one should make me feel guilty. No one attempted to twist the narrative. Simply provide support. Uncomplicated, sincere, pure. A person inquired of me, do you not feel any regret? I paused for a moment, contemplating. Then I remarked, my only regret is that I didn't act sooner. I believed that was the conclusion. Indeed, it was so. Yet, with individuals such as them, nothing concludes without a trace of chaos. Particularly as they begin to sense the repercussions of your departure. The initial weeks following Thanksgiving unfolded with a serene stillness. Serenely, hauntingly still. Silence on the line, free from remorse. Simply, tranquility. Until the festive season arrives. On the 22nd of December, a message from my mother arrived. Merely an image. The living room was adorned with stockings, a half-decorated tree standing proudly at the center, and a vast empty space where the presents typically gathered. The caption read, "It doesn't feel the same without you. Lily persistently inquires about the absence of Uncle this year." I gazed at it for what felt like an eternity. There is no need for an apology. There is no possession. Merely the same insidious undertone, behold the consequences of your actions. Consider the impact of your actions on those around you. I chose not to respond. On December 23rd, Elise made an attempt to reach out by phone. I allowed it to resonate. Then, she composed a message and sent it off. I acknowledge my mistakes. However, it is not necessary to impose punishment on all. Simply stop by for Lily. She longs for your presence. Moments later. Additionally, Mom and Dad are falling behind on their mortgage payments. I understand that you may have moved on, but I received a call from the bank today. I believed it would be of interest to you. There it stood, The request. Perpetually shrouded in a veil of remorse, perpetually cloaked in a facade of feigned tenderness. Yet, it invariably concluded in the same manner, with a plea. I have severed the connection by blocking the number. On the eve of December 24th. Yet another piece of writing. This moment comes from Dad. Your argument is clear. We understand, yet, there comes a point when one must draw the line. Assistance is required. We remain your kin. That evening, I found myself in solitude by the flickering flames of the fireplace, cradling a glass of wine. I surveyed my modest apartment. There is no tree, silence prevails. Only I remain, accompanied by the silence they warned would be my undoing. For the very first time in my existence, gratitude washed over me in that stillness. Yet, that was not the conclusion. The first month of the year, a call came through from an unfamiliar number. I reached for it instinctively. Could this be Daniel? A voice belonging to a man inquired. Indeed. Who is it that calls? My name is Mark, he declared. I am reaching out on behalf of your father. He indicated that you are the main executor of the family trust. I stood still, caught in a moment of sheer disbelief. 2 months ago, I made the decision to revoke that role, I stated. The family attorney brought it to a close. My name is absent from all things. The man came to a halt. Indeed, I understand. Your father mentioned that he was unable to contact you directly and requested that I look into alternative options. There, finding myself in a bit of a predicament. Indeed, they certainly were. Elise and my parents found themselves at a crossroads, devoid of alternatives. The automated teller machine stood silent, its doors firmly shut. The safety net had vanished. At this moment, they were embarking on a journey of creativity. I ended the call in silence. Yet, it was in February that the ultimate breaking point was reached. An envelope arrived in the mail, written by hand. Absent of a return address. Yet, I identified my mother's handwriting without hesitation. Within lay a letter, spanning 3 pages. The opening page was steeped in a sense of remorse. Words were exchanged in the heat of the moment. You have consistently embodied strength. We were unaware of the extent to which we relied on you. The next page unfolded into a realm of guilt. Your father's health is concerning. Elise finds herself utterly alone now. Concerns linger for Lily. She is facing challenges. What about the 3rd page? That was the captivating element. We are putting the house on the market. However, we find ourselves in a position where the mortgage exceeds the value of the property. All we require is a touch of assistance to navigate this challenge. In that case, we shall refrain from inquiring once more. Kindly, Daniel. Perform this act in honor of your father. Undertake this for the sake of the family. I lingered with the letter for a time. I allowed myself to experience every bit of what they wished for me to feel. The burden of duty, the sharp pang of duty. The profound yearning to mend what has been shattered. With a deliberate motion, I folded the letter, awoke from slumber, strolled into the kitchen, and discarded it into the refuse. In reality, they were not seeking assistance. Access was being requested by them. Once more, they had no desire to welcome me back into the fold of the family. They sought the version of me that never uttered the word no. The one who bore the cost in silence, quietly relinquished. Endured in silence. Yet, that iteration of myself? He has departed. I refuse to be their scapegoat any longer. I am not their source of endless fortune. I am not the adhesive that binds a crumbling structure. I have reached my conclusion. What strikes the deepest fear within them? I am managing quite well in their absence. I have secured a new position, relocated to a new city. A more spacious environment. A fresh beginning. I began dedicating my weekends to volunteering, not out of necessity, but driven by my own desire to contribute. I crafted a life in which no one disturbs me at 11 p.m. to rectify a blunder they refuse to acknowledge. In a place where my independence is celebrated, not condemned, in a realm where kindness stands free from manipulation. I have no regrets about offering my assistance to them. Yet, I find myself lamenting the duration it took for me to finally cease. Are you curious about the essence of true peace? It's the absence of family around you. It's the liberation from those who refer to you as family solely in times of need. An update, several months down the line. I never anticipated that this post would capture any attention. To be frank, I simply had to express it. To place it in a location, yet, I perused each and every comment. Those who called you brave, they are not worthy of you. Thank you. It wasn't until the moment arrived that I realized just how essential those words were to me, and to the few who inquired, but what if they transform? Indeed, that question has crossed my mind as well. Several months have passed since then. They remained the same. Once I severed those ties, once the folder was closed, after the cacophony of screams gave way to an unsettling silence and the letters were penned, I held on to a flicker of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, someone would understand. That they would contemplate. That they would express their apologies. They did not. Silence enveloped them for a time. Then they devised a plan. In their moment of desperation, they resorted to measures they never thought they would. Then they turned unpleasant once more. But what about me? I found my freedom. Since that time, I have relocated to a new abode. I have secured a position that allows me to rest easy at night. Embarked on the journey of therapy, authentic healing. The moment you cease the endless pursuit of mending others and instead embrace the art of being with yourself. Now, I prepare my own meals. I experience improved sleep. I find myself venturing outdoors more frequently. The phone buzzes, and I remain unfazed. Occasionally, Lily crosses my mind. Concerning the lessons she is receiving. Concerning the beliefs she will come to accept as ordinary. Yet, I am also aware of this. I became the embodiment of someone who ultimately declared enough is enough. Recently, I received yet another letter, written by hand. From my mother. It consisted of 3 words: we remain united as a family. No context provided. No need for an apology, no alteration. Merely the familiar refrain. For the first time, I found myself devoid of any feeling. There is no anger. There is no sorrow. Simply emptiness. I discarded it and prepared dinner. Here I am once more. This place bestowed upon me an unexpected clarity. Others perceived me with a clarity that my own family never could. I have a question I'd like to pose. Have I made the right choice? Severing ties, shedding the burden, declining an invitation, and truly embracing it. Did I come across as too distant? Or had I finally reached the end of my tether, weary of being the sole architect of our fragile balance? I'm uncertain. Yet, I am certain of one thing. For the first time in my life, I find myself truly living. I exist in this moment. I appreciate your time and attention. Continuing to listen.